Hey guys, so I was actually on my way to Dollar General and I was kind of thinking about this. Um, New dungeon ideas for WoW, and I had one idea, and I would really love to see this at some point because we kind of know that sometimes when they show something being, you know, dug up, it comes back in the end. Yoggoth the Slitherer, the one who was in Darkshore for the longest time, he was there, and then they were excavating, and eventually now we've got Yoggoth the Slitherer as like a world quest objective. So usually things that are starting to be dug up usually come in to play. In the Barrens, same thing. There's like this possible Titan facility over there, where all those the dwarves are, and so there's a possible Titan facility there. So we might be seeing that since it's a Titan facility. So we're bound to go there. But so there's usually when something's being dug up in World of Warcraft, we generally see it come to fruition and have something to do with the game. So that being said, if you go to Northrend into Dragonblight, there's a little site where they're digging up a dragon, and his name is Galakrond, and he is massive. His hand is like the size of a small building, so he's big. People say, well, maybe he's not as big as Deathwing. No, Deathwing canonically is not as big as we thought in game. I think they just scaled him up because it's like, oh man, wouldn't it be cool for us to fight on his back? But he really wasn't as big as Alexstrasza or Sarah and all of them. But he was big because he was more of the more powerful one because he was the Earth Water. But he wasn't humongous like that enough to where we could, on his back. Now, when he fell into the Maelstrom, after we ripped his plates off, all that madness and power and rage that he had in him, that kind of exploded out. So yeah, I can see how he became that huge. That's kind of reason why he had the plates on him in the first place, because his body was just overflowing with so much power that his body was literally tearing itself apart. So they had to put some elementium plates on him to keep all that power contained. So Galakrond is the biggest known. Of course, there is that other one in Dragonblight. If you go to the very south, if you follow the Path of the Titans all the way down, there's a you'll see on the map, there's like, you can see horns, and you'll see two dots and like an outline of a mouth or of a skull. That is huge. If you go swim under there, that's a dragon. Those are dragon bones, and it is huge. From where it is to almost to the end of the map, that's how far it stretches. And then when you go in there, the size of us, we're like the size of like the pupil in the eye. That's how big this thing is. So Galakrond might not be the biggest, but this thing in the water might be second biggest. I don't know, because we haven't seen the full scale of Galakrond. The backstory in Galakrond, who, for people who don't know, he was this massive dragon who could eat other dragons. In the picture that they show, basically his mouth could just one bite and dragons are gone. And with him, the more he ate, the bigger he got. And it got to the point where the dragons were, well, they were proto-drakes at this time. They were still primordial. They didn't have intelligence or anything like that. But they knew enough and thought well enough to say, hey, we need to do something about this. They didn't speak at the time. But they all banded together. It was, Alexstrasza, Ysera, Malagos at the time, Neltharion, and Nose Normu, with the help of other outside influences, and together they managed to take down Galakrond. It was a long battle, but they eventually won, and they slew him on land, and body got covered in snow over time, and now they're in Northrend trying to dig him up to resurrect him. But after the victory, the Titans blessed them with the intelligence, and they became the dragonflights we all know and love today. Except for Deathwing, because, he's a douchebag. But same thing with Malygos. He turned out to be a douchebag because he eventually fell to corruption as well. But at least we have Kalecgos, and he's cool. But I want to see a raid. Of course, it'd be in the Caverns of Time, because it'd be perfect. I want to go further back into the history. We've seen the Sundering of the invasion of the Burning Legion and the Well of Eternity just imploding on itself and poof, everything just spreading. We've seen the liberation of Thrall and the other orcs. We've seen the coming of the orcs in the first war, with Medivh opening the portal, the dark portal for them in the Black Morass. We've seen the destruction of Archimonde at the World Tree in Mount Hyjal. The calling of Stratholme with Arthas and his essential start of falling from grace with the purging of Stratholme. So we've seen a lot of important events, but they were most of the part current events within 50, 60 years of game time now. But I want to see something in the past. Go back and watch and help the primordial dragons defeat Galakrond. Go back into the past and see the Black Empire in all its glory, with sacrifices being done and the servants of the old gods round every turn, and the elementals being enslaved, and maybe we go back and help Alakir and kind of help them free themselves. And I would love to see something like that. Galakrond, I think, would be a great thing because he's so big, and I don't want it to be like another Deathwing type thing with, just go on its back and just stabby, stabby, stab. I don't want it to be that, but maybe there is a moment where he does, and he kind of devours us, and we kind of have to fight our way out. Enough damage to get done, he spits us out. So that would be interesting. But also, I think Galakrond eventually started to like a zombie dragon type thing, where he started to rot and decay, and it was gnarly. But yeah, like the first phase, you're fighting him. He's doing his fire breath or whatever kind of ability he had. He gets down a little further. He gets desperate. He tries sucking us in to eat us. So we're essentially in his stomach. But in his stomach, it'd be cool, kind of like with like the minion of the old gods, like in Twilight Highlands, where there's like acid and stuff, and you have to get out within a certain time or you die. So that'd be cool. You're in the bowels of Galakrond, and while you're trying to fight whatever's in there and trying to get out, you're being dissolved. You're not really disappearing, but your health is going down slowly, and your a little bar is filling up. And then when it fills up, you all die. Your acid takes over and you die. But once you get him down far enough, he spits you out. Maybe like the screen goes black, and then you all fly back and get up, and delivering the final blow. I mean, it has to go along with how history happened. We can't go back and change it. So if we were there, we would have to, maybe a cutscene would play when it gets down far enough. A cutscene would play, and we would see the proto-drakes band together to take him down, to deliver the final blow, to take him out for good. We see the Titans coming down or whatever, and however they blessed them, and them essentially evolve from these proto-drakes, these primordial creatures, to full-fledged intelligent beings who have cognitive thoughts and speech, and thank you, heroes, for assisting us, and blah blah blah, and that good stuff. So I think that would really be cool and beneficial to see that, because I know they like to take stuff from past lore that we haven't seen and kind of put it in game somehow to so I think that would really be cool to see. Like I said, the Black Empire would also be cool. We're going to Nyalotha, so they're going to have the model for it. So if we have a past version of the Black Empire, that would be really cool to see. With just, not really where we're walking being infested with all these mobs, but if you look in the distance, you see all these buildings and structures around, and they're just crawling with freaking mobs of, um, you know, faceless ones and people being strung along because they're being sacrificed to the old gods, and I think it'd be really cool. Um, but what do you guys think? If there was an event in World of Warcraft that you could see being made into a dungeon or raid, which event would it be and why? What interests you about that event? Well, why would you want to see it take place? And what sort of mechanics would you like to see? Like I said, I would love to see if it was Galakrond being sucked inside, him trying to eat us, and we kind of have to fight our way out. It's a little normal and it's been done, but he's a dragon of that size and stature, so you would think he would try to do something like that. Like, okay, I'm about to lose, I'm just gonna eat them. Um, Along with the dissolving effect in his stomach. But like I said, what would you guys like to see? Let me know below. Thumbs up, thumbs down, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.